The school bathroom had always been a place of mystery and whispers, a grimy sanctuary where secrets were shared and fears were faced. It was a place where I had heard countless tales of ghostly encounters and eerie experiences, but I never truly believed them until that fateful day. It was a typical afternoon at Fairview High School, the halls buzzing with students rushing to their next class. As I made my way to the bathroom, I couldn't help but overhear hushed conversations about the legend of Bloody Mary, a ghostly apparition said to appear in the mirror if you chanted her name 3 times. It was a childish superstition, and most students scoffed at the idea. Entering the bathroom, I was greeted by the usual sights and sounds, the flickering fluorescent lights, the creaking stall doors, and the distant hum of the ventilation system. It was eerily quiet for a school restroom, and a shiver ran down my spine as I approached the row of grimy mirrors. I couldn't resist the temptation to test the legend. In a hushed voice, I muttered,
"Bloody Mary."
Nothing happened. Emboldened, I said it a second time, my voice growing slightly louder.
"Bloody Mary."
Still, there was no response. With a nervous chuckle, I decided to go all in. I took a deep breath and said,
"Bloody Mary."
3 times, staring intently into the mirror as I did. The seconds ticked by, and I rolled my eyes, dismissing the legend.
Nonsense.
Just as I turned to leave, a chilling gust of icy wind swept through the bathroom, extinguishing the lights. Panic set in as I fumbled for my phone, its faint glow providing the only source of light. The bathroom was pitch black, and the air seemed to grow colder with each passing second. Suddenly, a whisper echoed through the darkness. It was faint at first, barely audible, but it grew louder with each repetition.
Help me. Help me. Help me.
My heart pounded in my chest as I strained to see through the darkness. The voice seemed to be coming from the mirrors themselves, as if they were portals to another realm. I could feel a presence, a malevolent force that surrounded me, closing in.
Who's there?
Help me.
I couldn't resist the compulsion to answer.
How can I help you?
The whispers grew louder, and I could see the faint outline of a figure in the mirror. It was a girl, her eyes hollow and her skin pallid. She reached out, her ghostly hand passing through the glass as if it were water.
You have to find my locket. It's hidden in the school. And it's the only way to set me free.
Before I could respond, the lights flickered back on and the chilling presence vanished. I was left standing in the dimly lit bathroom, my heart still racing, wondering if what I had just experienced had been real or merely a hallucination. Determined to uncover the truth, I set out on a quest to find the girl's locket. The legend of Bloody Mary had taken on a whole new dimension, and I couldn't ignore the call for help I had heard in that eerie bathroom. Over the course of weeks, I searched every nook and cranny of the school, following cryptic clues that led me deeper into the mystery. The locket was said to hold the key to the girl's release. But as I delved further into the riddle, I couldn't help but wonder if I was being lured into a trap. One night, as I ventured into the school's abandoned basement, I finally found the locket hidden in a dusty, forgotten corner. It was a small, tarnished piece of jewelry, but it held an air of significance. Holding it in my trembling hands, I knew I had to return to the bathroom to complete the task. As I entered the restroom once more, a sense of foreboding washed over me. The lights flickered and the temperature dropped. The whispers began anew, echoing through the bathroom, growing louder with each step I took. I approached the mirror, clutching the locket tightly.
I have it.
The ghostly figure appeared, her eyes filled with desperation.
Give it to me.
She pleaded. But before I could react, a voice rang out from behind me. A voice I recognized all too well. It was my best friend, Emma, the one who had told me about the legend of Bloody Mary in the first place.
Give me the locket.
She demanded, her eyes filled with an unsettling mix of determination and malice. I hesitated, torn between the girl in the mirror and the friend I had known for years. Emma's insistence grew more intense, and I realized with a shock that she had known about the locket all along. She had lured me into this twisted game, and now she wanted the power it held for herself. As I held the locket in my hand, I had to make a choice. A choice that would determine the fate of the girl in the mirror and the destiny of my friend. The bathroom seemed to close in around me, the whispers growing louder, the pressure unbearable. And then, with a final, heart-wrenching decision, I placed the locket into the hands of the ghostly girl. The room trembled, and the mirror shattered, sending shards of glass flying in all directions. The lights flickered and dimmed, and then, with a deafening roar, they went out. When the lights returned, the bathroom was empty and I was alone. Emma was gone, as if she had never existed, and the girl in the mirror had been set free. As I left the bathroom, I couldn't help but wonder about the girl's true identity and the darkness that had bound her to that place. Had I made the right choice? I would never know, but one thing was certain. The legend of Bloody Mary was far more than just a childhood superstition. The glow of my phone screen pierced the darkness of my bedroom as I lay in bed, lost in the endless scroll of social media. It was past midnight, but I couldn't tear myself away from the intoxicating allure of social media. My obsession with virtual lives had taken over my own, and I was drowning in a sea of carefully curated images and meticulously crafted stories. I had always prided myself on being a social media aficionado, chasing likes and followers like a digital high. But lately, it had become an addiction, consuming my every waking moment and infiltrating my dreams. Friends had become avatars, and experiences had been reduced to hashtags. My real life was slipping away, and I couldn't see the darkness creeping in. That night, as I scrolled through an endless stream of posts, a peculiar image caught my attention. It was a photo of me, but not one I had ever taken or posted. I stared in disbelief as I recognized myself in the dimly lit room, asleep in my bed, my phone resting on my chest. The caption beneath the image read, "Caught in the web." Chills raced down my spine as I tried to rationalize what I was seeing. Had someone broken into my room? Was this a cruel prank? I frantically tapped the image, trying to trace it back to its source, but the post had no tags, no location. It was as if it had materialized out of thin air. Fear and paranoia gnawed at me as I locked my phone and scanned my room for any signs of intrusion. Everything seemed normal, and the door was locked from the inside. I told myself it was a sick joke, a hack, and forced myself to put it out of my mind. But as the hours passed, I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Sleep eluded me that night, and I watched the darkness outside my window turn gray. I decided to confront the bizarre post and headed to the bathroom to splash some water on my face. As I flicked on the light, I gasped in horror at my reflection. The face staring back at me was not my own. It was twisted and contorted, with hollow eyes that seemed to bore into my soul. I stumbled back, my heart pounding in my chest, but the reflection remained distorted. Panic surged through me as I fumbled for my phone to document the nightmare, but the device was dead, its screen blank. Desperation clawed at me as I raced back to my bedroom and plugged in my phone. The moment it powered on, I received a flood of notifications. My heart sank as I realized that the photo had gone viral, with thousands of comments and shares. People were speculating about the bizarre image, suggesting everything from a ghostly presence to a digital glitch. I scrolled through the comments, my heart pounding with each word. Some users claimed to have seen similar images, while others insisted it was a prank or a publicity stunt. But one comment caught my eye. A cryptic message from a user with no profile picture or followers. It simply read, "The web never forgets." I felt a growing unease as I clicked on the user's profile, but it was empty, devoid of any posts or information. It was as if the account had been created just to send me that eerie message. My phone buzzed with a new notification, a direct message from the same user. "What do you see when you look in the mirror?" the message read. My hands trembled as I typed a response. "Who are you? What do you want?" The response was swift. "You've been captured by the web. To escape, you must confront your digital self." Confusion and fear overwhelmed me as I stared at the screen. What did it mean? My reflection in the bathroom mirror had been distorted. But what did that have to do with social media? I had no answers, only a growing sense of dread. As the days passed, I became increasingly paranoid. I noticed strange occurrences on my social media accounts. Images of me appearing in places I had never been. Status updates I had not written. It was as if someone or something was impersonating me online, blurring the line between reality and the virtual world. The web had become a nightmarish labyrinth, and I was trapped within its dark corridors. I tried to disconnect, to delete my accounts, but my online presence seemed to have a life of its own. Messages and notifications flooded in, taunting me with cryptic messages and distorted images. I grew more isolated, my friends and family unable to comprehend the terror that had consumed me. The lines between my physical and digital self blurred further as I saw glimpses of my distorted reflection in the real world. My face contorted in the windows of passing cars, my eyes hollow in the reflections of shop windows. One night, as I lay in bed, unable to sleep, I received a final message from the enigmatic user. "You cannot escape the web. You are its prisoner forever." I threw my phone across the room, unable to bear the torment any longer. As it clattered to the floor, the screen shattered and the notifications ceased, but the damage was done. I was forever entangled in the web, a prisoner of my own digital obsession, a distorted reflection of my former self, lost in the dark corridors of the virtual world. Beware the allure of the virtual world, for once you are captured, there is no escape, and you become a prisoner of the darkness that lurks within the pixels and code.